to the NXT Podcast, your home for weekly NXT reviews and insight.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
Find all of your NXT news, recaps, and analysis right here. So with that being said, we only have one question for you.
Are you ready?
We thought so. Let's get the show started right now.
What's going on, guys? It is Chris again with another NXT review. It is March 11th, and the coronavirus is spreading everywhere. You know, the one thing that kind of bothers me about that is the fact that the NXT takeover in Ciampa and WrestleMania are in question. They may not happen. What happens if they don't happen? What position are we in at that point? You know, does WrestleMania get postponed? Does it get canceled? When would you do it in August? Is August the time to do WrestleMania? I don't think so. That's SummerSlam time. What do? You can't really have it in an empty arena. That'd be ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But we'll find out in the next couple of days. I know Tampa is going to have a conference. You know how San Francisco has and the state of Washington has and places like that to decide what they're going to do. I mean, the NBA season tonight canceled. They suspended the season due to coronavirus. It's crazy. So just want to let you know you can find me on Twitter at the CO Place to Go on Twitter. Please reach out. Questions, comments, doesn't matter. Let's get to This Week in Wrestling. This Week in Wrestling on Raw, you saw Edge take out Randy Orton with an RKO. He also destroyed MVP, hit him with the concerto while staring at Randy, telling him he caused this, or it's, this is on him type thing, all that. It was a good segment. It brought kind of the crazy version of Edge back, which everyone likes. I mean, I liked. Is that the best version of Edge? I think so. AJ Styles brought up Michelle McCool running the Undertaker into the ground, burying him. Not sure what that was about, but that's what was talked about. Next week is 316 on Monday night. Stone Cold Steve Austin will be back on 316. They have to have Austin back on 316. It's in Pittsburgh, I believe. Will it boost sales? I don't know. Everyone's scared. What is going to happen? What live events are going to happen? I hate to bring up the coronavirus. I don't like bringing up stuff, political or anything like that. But, what happens with the coronavirus? What happens with all these live events? What happens with the big shows? What happens? Obviously, the next pay-per-view is WrestleMania. What happens? Do we still run it? Should everyone be scared? I saw Tom Hanks has coronavirus. It's crazy. I hate talking about that. I really do. I apologize, but it's big. It does touch wrestling. It's one of those things that touches everything. My business, I work in casinos. Casino business is bad. I'm out in Vegas. NFL draft. Does that get canceled? We're going to find out here in the next few days. Kind of scary, man. Kind of scary. Back to wrestling on SmackDown. Only thing I took from SmackDown was Bray Wyatt on Firefly Funhouse. Gave reasons for facing John Cena, kind of how they have a history, things like that. Kind of cool. I love the Firefly Funhouse segments. To me, they're pretty good. No matter what happens with The Fiend, in terms of winning, losing, things like that, Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse, to me, keeps the character going. Kind of like, when Bray Wyatt used to be part of the Wyatt family. His segments. That's what I look forward to every week watching wrestling. I look forward to Bray Wyatt's segment. What's he going to say next? What's he going to do? What kind of cryptic message is he going to have? And that's what kept it going. I loved it. Loved it a lot. I hate to say I'm looking forward to a John Cena match because I'm very anti-John Cena, with a lot of stuff. You go to live events, little kids sitting next to you. Oh, no, John Cena. Then the John Cena sucks chance. You get them, You could tell it bothers them. They look at you like, why don't you like my hero? But, nobody, I don't know. Nobody I know does. Actually, there is one guy I know who does. Killing me, man. In news, Ruthless Aggression. So we're going to talk about a couple WWE Network specials here. Ruthless Aggression, fantastic. I've watched every episode so far. I don't like how they said it was going to be coming out in the fall. That kind of sucks. That's trash to me. The fall, really? What is this, The Walking Dead? We're separating seasons? Come on now. Bring out the good stuff. Also, the FCW special on the network I have not watched yet. I heard it is good. What I have heard is some people complaining like, "Oh, well, Daniel Bryan got his start." And no, he didn't. Like, it talks about how he's been in the Indies. If you know Daniel Bryan, he's been in the Indies. We know he didn't start in FCW. Duh. Hello. Let's go into Elimination Chamber. I thought it was actually a solid pay-per-view. It wasn't over the top, but if you look at the people who were on the card compared to the people who were not on the card, two totally different things. Originally you had Roman Reigns and John Cena both in the Elimination Chamber match. That would have been huge. Obviously, that changed of direction when they made Goldberg champ. Had to have, right? And then you automatically give Reigns the shot? Come on, man. To me, it would have been better served John Cena versus The Fiend for the belt, to beat The Fiend, like John Cena being the kid's hero, whatever he is. It would have been better served him being the one who defeats The Fiend, in my opinion. But, it is what it is. So Elimination Chamber, the Viking Raiders defeat Hawkins and Ryder on the pre-show. I didn't even know that was going to be a thing. I didn't have an idea on that. Daniel Bryan beat Drew Gulak via submission. I thought that was a great match. It was pretty basic for the most part, but I think it was a good way to kick off the show. Reminded me a lot of NXT kickoffs. NXT always comes out hot, or the goal is to come out hot. Put a match together that's going to come out hot. Next was Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo. Andrade wins. It was a good match. The rivalry was a good rivalry so far, except Andrade had to take some time off because of being suspended. But other than that, it was a good match. Miz and Morrison won the SmackDown Elimination Chamber. What I did like was how they continued the Dolph and Otis feud over Mandy Rose. I thought that was fantastic. Aleister Black defeated AJ Styles. Does this match, does it set up Undertaker and Aleister Black versus the OC? Maybe. I would like to see the Undertaker protected at WrestleMania. I don't think he's going to lose, to AJ Styles. They're going to have a contract signing. I think it's going to end up being a tag match. Handicap match. Let me rephrase that. Handicap match. OC versus Aleister Black and Undertaker. Maybe this is the passing of the torch. Maybe. But Aleister Black gets the win. Street Profits beat Seth Rollins and Murphy. A little bit of forwarding in the Kevin Owens Seth Rollins feud for WrestleMania. I said SummerSlam. Could that be foreshadowing? I don't know. Sami Zayn defeated Braun Strowman. It was a 3-on-1 match. What I hope for in this is that Sami Zayn gets to defend against Nakamura. In some way, shape, or form, Braun Strowman gets beaten. And Nakamura comes out. They had a fantastic match at TakeOver Dallas for NXT. That's the direction I want to see that going. And then your main event was Shayna Baszler. She won in the Elimination Chamber. I mean, if you thought anyone other than Shayna Baszler was going to win, you have been living under a rock. And I apologize for saying that. That could be a safer place for health reasons right now. But Shayna Baszler was going to win that. There was one spot in that when she kind of slammed Liz Morgan into the cage, and then slammed her into the one of the pods, in the plexiglass pod. That was a little rough. Looked like Liv Morgan could have been hurt. The only thing about this is the fans started turning in this match. It got a little dull and boring for a little bit. But other than that, I thought the match was okay, with it guaranteed you knew who was going to win the entire time. Like, I didn't have to watch that match, and I could have told you who won. All right, next we got our birthday. There's only one birthday today. Again, it is March 11th. That one birthday is Pitbull number 1, Gary Wolf. Clearly Pitbull number 2. They were a tag team in ECW. But Gary Wolf is 53, which I actually thought he was going to be older than that, to be quite honest with you. I think of ECW, I think 25 years ago. And that's relatively correct time-wise, but 20 to 25 years ago. He was best known for his time in ECW. He was a one-time TV champ and a one-time tag team champion in ECW. And he still makes random appearances on the indies. Obviously, his Pitbull number 2, his tag team partner, Anthony Durante, died years ago. early 2000s, I believe. Mid 2000s, maybe. 03 to 05, somewhere between there. Not 100% sure. Let's get into last week's show. Last week's show, you had Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox in a cage match. You had Roderick Strong and Velveteen Dream in a cage match, which is setting up Velveteen Dream against Adam Cole for the championship at TakeOver Tampa, if it happens. And then you had Austin Theory versus Isaiah Swerve Scott, which I thought was fantastic. Those three are matches to catch if you did not see the episode on the 4th. The promos from last week, Finn Balor, mentioned that Walter has now forced his hand. Finn Balor should be on the next NXT UK show, setting up a possible match at some point with Walter. And then, to me, the piece of the night, the thing to take from last week's show was the promo from Johnny Gargano with Mauro Ranallo, where Mauro Ranallo walks off. It was very emotional, very passionate, very anything that you could want. There was anger, the raw emotion of almost sadness. I don't want to use the word depression, but it was just like there was so much emotion, positive, negative, everything was there. Everything you wanted to see from Johnny Gargano was there. It was very Tommaso Ciampa-ish from his character 2 years ago with the feuds with Gargano, and it is back, and it is fantastic. This time it's on Gargano's side. Absolutely fantastic. This was great. So this week for NXT, we're going to get to tonight's episode. This week for NXT, it was at the Performance Center. There's been some talk that some of the episodes, some of the SmackDown upcoming episodes, things like that, might be held at the Performance Center as well, in front of no real audience, a very small audience. Is it going to happen? Who knows? Your first match of the night tonight, like I was saying, NXT comes out hot. Typically comes out hot. Tonight, you had the North American Championship match. First, it was Keith Lee versus Cameron Grimes. Both guys I love. Obviously, Keith Lee a lot more. Keith Lee does get the win in this. I think it was 3 out of 5 on the match. It was one of those matches where everybody did the stuff they needed to do. I thought this was actually a fun match. Cameron Grimes, again, every TV match that I've seen him in, I think except for maybe one, it's really stood out. Cameron Grimes looks great, is booked great. The only thing about this match is they never got into that extra mode. They didn't get into like a takeover type mode. You could tell this was a TV match. Keith Lee wins and he's having a celebration. After the match, Damian Priest comes out, jumped him, and then Dominik Dijakovic came in and made the save for Keith Lee. Does this set up a triple threat match at TakeOver Tampa? Maybe, because Dijakovic said he wanted another chance. These three big guys in the ring at the same time, to me, that would be an exciting match. I don't know whether it's actually going to happen. I don't know if it's something that, that will be pulled off. I don't know if it's one of those, Keith Lee monster moments where you have two guys who are 6'7" and 6'6", or whatever Damian Priest is. He's gigantic too. Is it going to be one of those? I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a match like that. I hope it is. But again, like I've mentioned 73 times so far, is it going to happen? I'm so concerned for the next 6 weeks in wrestling. I mean, who knows? The NBA canceled the rest of their season. What happens? I mean, they're delaying it. But, what happens? I hate that I keep digressing to that garbage that is the coronavirus. But we're going to get through it, guys. We're going to get through it. Don't go on cruise ships. Don't go in, fly on planes, please. Go places. Go see stuff. Don't go out of the country. Can't get back. Can't get into other countries. But go on planes. Next match you had was the number 1 contenders qualifying match, Dakota Kai versus Mia Yim. The only thing I'm going to say about this match is I was pleasantly surprised, I guess. I don't know. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'm not a huge Mia Yim fan. I'm okay with Dakota Kai kind of in the, where she's the heel, kind of has the attitude, whatever. She's got Raquel Gonzalez with her now. Gonzalez, of course, interfered in this match, but it bit Dakota Kai. She rolled up Mia Yim, but the referee was arguing with Raquel Gonzalez. Mia ends up winning with a code breaker. After the match, of course, Mia Yim gets laid out with a power bomb by Raquel Gonzalez. Mia Yim with the win. About 10 minutes. This was a 2.5 maybe out of 5. Nothing great. I think that Mia Yim has done well in ladder matches. That's kind of like her spectacle. Like, that's what she does is ladder matches. But I was really surprised that Dakota Kai got the loss. Like, you feel like she has the momentum. She just picked up the win over Tegan Nox. I don't know where, you come off a win in a cage match off of Tegan Nox last week, and then you lose in a qualifying match to Mia Yim. Where's the storytelling here? Where is this going? Hopefully it's going somewhere. I mean, there's a lot of heat between these two because it started at War Games. But I'm just not understanding the booking here. I'm just not. For me, that this match, like I said, 2.5 out of 5, because it was a decent match, but it wasn't. It didn't have the finish I thought it would. I guess maybe that's part of the reason I'm knocking a little bit off of it. Next match, Kushida versus Raul Mendoza. It was a decent match for Kushida. It got him back winning. Nothing great to report from this match. Nothing that really truly stood out in this match. I love Kushida. Fantastic. I do want to see a little more of him. The time splitters with Alex Shelley. I think that'd be great. I don't know if that was a one-time off gimmick. They made it seem like it's not. But it also, you look at NXT and you look at their tag division, and it doesn't stand out. There's nothing exciting about their tag division. So here's hoping that Kushida and Alex Shelley can come back. To me, that's the place for Kushida right now, as the roster is pretty stacked. Like, there's a lot of guys in the roster who are way ahead of Kushida. I think he could be perfectly used in the tag team division. All right, and we are flying through this review right now. Only 2 more matches left. One of them was absolutely terrible, and that's the next match up. It was another qualifying match. You got Deonna Purrazzo versus Tegan Nox. Tegan Nox does get the win, which, again, if you go back to earlier when it was Dakota Kai versus Mia Yim, this truly surprises me. Why? And I'm going to be 100%. Why do you have Dakota Kai lose and Tegan Nox win? Not that I'm saying Deonna Purrazzo should have won. Not at all. But Tegan Nox gets a win. Of course, she hits the shiniest wizard. 1 out of 5 on this. I mean, it was 2 minutes. I'm not even like, this match didn't exist to me. But what I question, like I said, is the booking. Why not have Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox have a gigantic spot in the qualifying match? In the qualifying matches to get the win, to have that match at TakeOver Tampa. Why do you not give the win there? I mean, Mia Yim, like I said, her specialty or her go-to or what she does well and succeeds in may potentially be ladder matches. But come on now. Extend the storyline. Was that the end of the storyline? Is that where it ends? Last week in the cage? I don't think so. I think TakeOver Tampa ladder match would have been a great send-off. Neither one has to win. They can both brutalize each other and it's done. I don't know. Hence why I'm not a booker, I guess. Final match of the night, main event. You have your NXT Tag Team Championship match. You had the Broserweights versus the Undisputed Era in a, I guess you could call it a rematch from TakeOver Portland. I thought these guys did great in TakeOver Portland. I thought it was fantastic. This one for me, 3.5 out of 5. It wasn't as good as TakeOver, and I feel like everybody saves their best for TakeOver, no matter what. No matter what TakeOver, everyone saves the best for. It's hard to find a match below 3.5 out of 5 on a TakeOver. For me, this one got a 3.5. It had everything you needed. The Grizzly Young Veterans even came out. Do you see some type of, Grizzly Young Veterans being the TakeOver match for the Broserweights? And if that's the case, do they win? Do they win? I don't know if the Grizzly Young Vets can pick up a win. I think they'll get the title shot at TakeOver. But, to me, they're a good team. The Grizzly Young Veterans are a good team. Okay, we'll talk about the 3 teams here. Broserweights, great team, great individual wrestlers who came together as a good team. Remember, I was saying I don't think it was going to last. I thought they'd implode. They have not. Undisputed Era, can't say enough about Undisputed Era. They're great. They're everything that you want from a tag team in the business. To me, they're everything that you're going to want. They're just fluid as a team. You've got everybody behind them, kind of as a group, just together, fluid in general. Roderick Strong's going to turn on him, I'm telling you, man. Roderick Strong's going to leave. Or, if Cole gets past Velveteen Dream, which we'll discuss in a minute, if that happens at TakeOver, does Roderick Strong go for it next? Is there dissension at some point? But Undisputed Era is so fluid. And Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, world-renowned tag team. Red Dragon. Fantastic. Grizzly Young Veterans, though, come out. To me, this was by far the best match. 3.5 out of 5, which, just a half star over, Keith Lee, his match. But, it wasn't a strong wrestling night. This was the best match by far, though. So now you look at what stood out. I pretty much just said it. Keith Lee and Cameron Grimes. I like to see more Cameron Grimes. I want to see Cameron Grimes do his thing in the ring. I feel he is a guy who has so many people ahead of him, similar to Kushida, who is fantastic, just needs to find his place. And if he continues to be in the mid-card guys are needed. It's needed. They get to fight for belts like the Intercontinental Championship, the United States Championship. They get to fight for those belts. And to me, that's important. And then, of course, Broserweights versus Undisputed Era was another match for the night, and I think the match that stood out over everything. So before we get into the promos, just giving you a heads up in case you hear my phone buzz, which is right next to the mic, so you may. I'm in the process of, looking to buy a house. Is now a good time? Again, this episode could be sponsored by coronavirus. Don't get it. Go grab as much toilet paper and water as you can. Everybody's scared. No. But looking to personally purchase a house. Very excited about that. I think the time is good. In terms of renting in comparison to buying, cost-wise is basically the same. Why not, instead of throwing the money away, I looked at what I paid in rent last year. It's about $22,000. That is absolutely insane. It is mind-blowing. It hurts the soul, and I hate it so much saying that. But, that's what's going on. That's what's going on in my world out here in Las Vegas. So, let's talk about promos. Promos tonight, the first big promo of the night was Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley came to the ring. She said that Charlotte needs a better game plan. This past week on Raw, you had Rhea Ripley, I don't want to say laid out, but she kind of side chopped to the head Charlotte. She fell down. Charlotte smiled. Ha ha ha. It wasn't spectacular. Charlotte Flair did come out while Rhea Ripley was talking tonight. There were some chants out there like, you don't go here, blah, blah, blah. And she said that she made here. Charlotte put over Rhea, which was actually pretty good. Charlotte said that she is too much for her to handle. As Charlotte enters the ring, she's going to drown her in deep waters. Real rough, real rough, like the killing aspect that was being talked about. Rhea, of course, attacked her. They trade body shots. Charlotte hits her with a big boot. Rhea does not get into the figure 4. And in the ring, she gets away from that as they are outside of the ring. The classic figure 4 around the ring post, which is super intense. One of the greatest moves that I saw was when Bret Hart used to wrap the like the figure 4, or not a version of the sharpshooter, but just like wrap people's legs around ring posts. Those are some of the best things that you could see, and he would do the figure 4, and sometimes a sharpshooter looked painful, but a figure 4 around the ring post, whether real, not real, it is, it's a devastating view. And it's very difficult to sit there and say that in some way, shape, or form that does not hurt. Next promo we have is Mia Yim. She was being interviewed in the parking lot. Some random car comes out with 2 masked men, and they kidnap Raul Mendoza. Not sure what's going on. Not sure what that had anything to do with anything, really, to be quite honest. But yeah, he got kidnapped. I saw like a funny joke on Twitter about hope that's not the same guys who kidnapped Samoa Joe that time. And was there ever an end to that story? I don't even remember. It's one of those things where it just kind of like disappeared and nobody talked about it. Next, before we come out for the main event, which the closing, was not the Broserweight match. There was the Gargano-Ciampa segment at the end, but Velveteen Dream came out as the Undisputed Era was out for the Broserweight match and said that it's always been about Adam Cole, that he doesn't care about Roderick Strong or his family. And to me, the line of the night, because they were just tights with faces on him, which was fantastic. Said he's not a vile person, never went after the family. Roderick Strong's just, an idiot. And he has the main event of TakeOver Tampa in his eyes with him versus Adam Cole, which I think, does Velveteen Dream deserve that match? I don't know. I don't know if he does deserve that match because, he's been out for so long. I feel like if he had a chance to run with the belt or had been around and had been put in the work, I think he might have, a case to have that championship. But I just don't feel in the sense of the body of work that he has put in the last year that he deserves a shot at that belt. That's just my opinion. Ciampa's had his shot. Gargano's had a shot. Finn Balor's had a shot. All these dudes have had a shot. So who is next? Who is the guy? Maybe Velveteen Dream. Throw it out there. At this point, they announced that the next week on NXT, there's going to be a celebration for Adam Cole being the longest reigning NXT champion. It's going to be next week. And then the final segment of the night. Actually, before we get into the final segment of the night, let's discuss what else we're doing next week. You have Mercedes Martinez versus Candice LeRae in a qualifying match. That's the only other thing that I saw for next week, offhand, other than the Adam Cole championship celebration. Will there be a contract signing? They might do something like that between Ciampa and Gargano. Who knows? But that's the only other thing announced. So back to the closing segment. And speaking of Ciampa and Gargano, Ciampa makes his way out. Okay, and it's supposed to be a Johnny Gargano promo. Ciampa said he wants Gargano to come out and explain himself. Gargano appears on the Titantron, if that's what you want to call it, from back in the day. He was in the Performance Center. He was just in a room. Said that Ciampa's the worst man in NXT. How is he a good guy now when he did terrible things 2 years ago, 3 years ago-ish, back in 2017, 2018. Ciampa exits the ring and finds where he's talking, and he attacks him, and he beats him up through the hallways. Of course, they come by a medical facility, like the trainer's area, let's say, and Ciampa hits him with a crutch, like it was the good old days. Ciampa then lays out a security guard, which of course is, what you got to do on a brawl. Then it moves to the workout room where Johnny Gargano kind of, takes control and jokingly calls him Daddy, for the whole Daddy's home gimmick. He says Ciampa's a liar. Gargano grabs a 50-pound weight and is going to hit him with it. Ciampa hits him and then hits Gargano in the ribs. He throws one and it breaks in the mirror behind them. They're doing true damage here to the Performance Center, which it kind of had a feel of one of those old school Stone Cold Steve Austin brawls where it'd be in the backstage, maybe even like a Triple H type brawl where you got guys going all over the place and just fighting. Then they finally get into the arena. Ciampa grabs a steel chair and hits into Johnny Gargano's knee and says that this is his house. This is NXT, is his place. They go up to the platform where Velveteen Dream was when he was kind of standing up on the top. That classic, they appear out of nowhere platform. Johnny Gargano slaps, he locks in the Gargano escape. Eventually, Johnny Gargano super kicks him, and Ciampa's like getting ready to fall off the platform. Gargano tells the crowd, "This is what you guys want. This is what you need. I'm going to show you exactly what's going to happen here." Ciampa, ended up hitting the air raid crash off of it through a table. And as the show's ending, William Regal comes out, and officials and referees and stuff like that, and they're coming to attend to them to make sure they're okay. So that air raid crash that Ciampa does pretty much off anything, whether it's the top of a steel cage, whether it's off the top ropes onto a table, off this platform through a table. It's pretty much his go-to. It was retribution a little bit for Tommaso Ciampa after what happened in Portland. And after that, amazing promo that Gargano had. I mean, this promo, started out as a promo and then it turned into a brawl, was nothing compared to last week. There was emotion. There was anger, clearly. You guys fighting. Of course it's going to be anger and emotion. But it was nothing compared to last week's promo. Last week's promo was the best thing I've seen promo-wise in quite a long time. Randy Orton has some great promos, but they're very physical based, whereas Gargano's promo was very emotional and mental based. But it was a great way to end the show. Like I said, you don't always need wrestling to end the show. If you have a good promo, if you have something good for storyline, it's big. That was pretty much it for this show. I mean, please feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at this CEO place to go with any questions, comments. I do want to end this saying that, with the coronavirus, with things like that, it is changing. A lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of people are losing their livelihood. A lot of people are losing a lot of different things. If you have something as big as the NBA willing to cut their season short, do you think WrestleMania has a shot? I personally don't. I think, I guess postponed is a better word and not canceled. They could be postponed. Will it mess up the storyline? I don't think so. Does wrestling go on a little bit of a break? Maybe. What do they put on TV? Best ofs. Maybe last year's WrestleMania. Some of the top this or that on Fox. I don't know. I mean, the goal obviously is for everybody to save, and this is throughout the world. Wash your hands. Use sanitizer. Use soap. Clean things off before you go. At the supermarket, if you're going to grab a cart, you wipe it off. Not a big deal, Do I do that? No. I usually don't take a cart. When I go to the supermarket, I just go grab stuff. But just be safe, man. Everybody be safe. In the environment we're in, I think this is being blown out of proportion a little more than it needs to, but you know what? People are dying. People die from the flu. People are dying, and, I just, as a wrestling community and as all that, we need to realize that sometimes safety is more important than the actual show. So there will probably be some changes on wrestling coming up here in the next few weeks. I just wish the best for everybody. Like I said, feel free to follow me, reach out to me on Twitter at the CO Place to Go with any questions or comments. I would love to hear from you guys. And until then, I will talk to you next week.